The Cicero Trilogy is a set of 3 historical novels by the British author Robert Harris, all following the career of the Roman senator Marcus Tullius Cicero. We'll come to Cicero in a moment. Harris was born in Nottingham in 1957. After studying at Cambridge, he became a journalist, working first for the BBC, then for a succession of broadsheet newspapers. His first novel, Fatherland, appeared in 1982 and became a bestseller. The individual novels in the Cicero Trilogy, Imperium, Lustrum, Conspirata in the USA, and Dictator, appeared between 2006 and 2015. As for Cicero, some might wonder why it's worth reading about someone who lived over 2,000 years ago, especially when so many of Harris's other novels are set in recent times. The answer lies in the novels themselves, in their demonstration that complex societies such as ours is, and ancient Rome was, always share significant moral, legal, and political problems. So they're always threatened by corruption, by wealth and power imbalances, by the ambition of unscrupulous persons, by prejudice, by popular frenzies. As will be obvious to anyone who reads these novels, they're as much about now as they are about then. But as well as that, Cicero is a major historical figure in a major ancient civilization, one by which in some ways we still measure ourselves. His career more or less tracks the final years of the Roman Republic before its reinvention as the Roman Empire. He was a brilliant stylist, a poet, and an important philosopher, though not in the first rank. The rediscovery of his letters in the 14th century is one of the major causes of the Renaissance, and he was a significant influence on a host of pivotal Enlightenment thinkers, including John Locke and David Hume. Everyone should know something about him. A fictionalized account, especially when it's written with one eye on the present day, can end up well-meaningly misrepresenting the past. But in his author's note to Imperium, Harris writes, "The majority of events in here did actually happen. The remainder at least could have happened, and nothing, I hope, demonstrably did not happen." The first book in the trilogy, Imperium, is an account of the trial that made Cicero as an official to be reckoned with. He began his career as a lawyer, and the novel gives an exciting account of his prosecution of a corrupt Sicilian official called Gaius Verus. But it also tracks Cicero's ascent, partly on the back of that victory, to become consul, one of 2 annually elected chief officials of the Roman Republic. He succeeds partly by exposing a conspiracy led by a powerful politician called Catilina. The second book, Lustrum/Conspirata, is darker. Lustrum can refer to a 5-year period, but it has the double meaning of debauchery. It begins some way into Cicero's consulship, and it records some of the compromises he has to make. Above all, it looks at his unmasking of a new Catiline conspiracy to overthrow the Republic by force of arms and to assassinate Cicero himself. After thwarting the plot, perhaps gaining the support of the Senate by forging a few letters, Cicero orders the summary execution of 5 conspirators. Afterwards, because there's been no trial, questions are raised, blame is assigned, and Cicero is exiled. Lustrum/Conspirata is also important for developing the characters that will eventually dismantle the Republic. While Cicero is busy dealing with Catilina and the fallout from that, 3 military men, Julius Caesar, Pompey and Crassus, and a rabble-rouser called Clodius, are making preparations to assume power by force if necessary. Cicero, as a civilian, may be out of his depth. Yes, he's crafty and he's diplomatic, but is that any match for military muscle? On the other side, we're introduced to Cato the Younger, an irascible Stoic and a dedicated Republican. Very different to Cicero. How far can they be allies? Clodius is particularly interesting from the point of view of 21st century politics. He had powerful support from the oligarchs, but also a strong populist base, and he wasn't above setting urban mobs on his opponents. He was eventually assassinated by a rival. The final book, Dictator, looks at the irresistible rise of Julius Caesar, his assassination, and the emergence of his brilliant young protege, Octavian, who later became the Emperor Augustus. It includes the death of Cicero himself, and that's made possible because the entire trilogy is supposedly the work of Cicero's secretary and slave, although Cicero eventually liberates him, Tiro. Tiro was a real person in exactly the role Harris assigns to him. He even wrote a biography of Cicero, although it was lost during the collapse of the Roman Empire. All in all, the Cicero Trilogy is an education in a crucial period in antiquity, but it's also highly enjoyable. Above all, it's an illustration of the old saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same.